The sun had just begun to rise over the quiet countryside, painting the horizon with strokes of gold and orange. For me, this land wasn't just dirt and trees. It was my life's dream. After working decades in the city, saving every dime, and sacrificing comfort, I had finally bought this quiet piece of land where I could breathe freely. Every blade of grass, every oak tree felt like home. But peace never lasts long when entitlement comes knocking. One morning, as I was watering the small vegetable patch I'd started near the fence, I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. A woman, tall, sharp-faced, and dressed in expensive-looking yoga pants, was striding confidently across my land as if she owned it. Her sunglasses glinted in the sun, and her little dog ran ahead, trampling over my freshly planted seedlings. I froze. "Who is she?" "Excuse me?" I called out, wiping sweat from my brow. "Can I help you?" The woman didn't even flinch. Instead, she shouted back casually, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just taking a shortcut to the trail." I put the hose down, walked a few steps closer, and tried to keep my voice steady. "Ma'am, this isn't a trail. This is my private property." She finally stopped, turned, and looked at me as if I had said something absurd. "Your property? That's funny. People around here always use this path. It's practically public." Something inside me stirred a mixture of disbelief and anger. I had spent years dreaming of this moment, building a sanctuary where I could finally live peacefully. And here was a stranger waltzing in as though my sacrifices meant nothing. "I'm sorry," as I said firmly, "but this is not public land. I bought it. It belongs to me. I'd appreciate it if you used the road instead." She gave me a dismissive laugh. "You can't tell me what to do. You're new here. You don't make the rules." Her arrogance cut deep, but I stood my ground. "Actually, the law makes the rules, and the law says, this is my land. Please leave." Her face twisted, her lips pursed tightly, and she snapped her fingers at her dog. "You're making a big mistake," she muttered. "You'll regret this." And with that, she stormed off. I thought it was over. But deep inside, I knew it wasn't. That woman wasn't going to just let it go. And I had no idea just how far she'd go to try to take away my peace. A week passed. I had almost forgotten about her. Then it happened again. I was fixing the old wooden fence near the back corner when I heard the familiar sound of footsteps. There she was, again walking right through my land, this time with two other women, all carrying lattes and chatting loudly. I marched over, my heart pounding. "Ma'am, we've already had this conversation," she smirked, turning to her friends as if I were some kind of clown. "Ladies, this is the guy who thinks he owns this land. Isn't that cute?" Her friends giggled, shaking their heads. "This isn't a joke," I said, trying to keep my voice steady but failing. "This is private property. If you don't leave, I'll have to call the sheriff." Her face hardened instantly. Call him. In fact, she pulled out her phone. "Why don't I call first? Let's see what the cops have to say when they find out you're harassing me on public land." Public land? My stomach twisted. Was she delusional or deliberately lying? Within minutes, the distant sound of sirens filled the air. My hands began to tremble. I had done nothing wrong, yet fear crept over me. What if they believed her? What if my hard-earned dream was about to turn into a nightmare? The patrol car pulled up, and two officers stepped out. The woman Corinne, as I later learned everyone in town called, her rushed forward dramatically, clutching her chest. "Officers." "Thank God you're here," she cried. "This man, he's threatening me, screaming at me, trying to keep me off land that's always been open to the community. He's unstable." My jaw dropped. The audacity, the lies, it was surreal. "Sir," one officer said, turning to me, "what's going on here?" I swallowed hard. "Officers, this is my land. I have the deed. I paid for it. She's trespassing, plain and simple." I asked her politely to leave. Kieran interrupted, waving her arms. "He's lying. This path has been used by locals for years. Everyone knows it. He can't just come in and claim it's private." The officers exchanged glances. One of them asked, "Do you have proof of ownership, sir?" My hands still trembling, I pulled out the folder I always kept in the house. I had expected resistance from developers, maybe disputes over zoning, but never this. I handed over the deed. The officer studied it carefully, then looked at Karen. "Ma'am, it seems he's right. This land belongs to him." Her face turned beet red. "This is ridiculous. You can't be serious. I know people in this town. You'll regret siding with him." But the officers shook their heads. "Ma'am, if you set foot on his land again without permission, you'll be trespassing, and we'll have to cite you. Do you understand?" For the first time, I saw her mask crack. The smugness gave way to rage. She glared at me as if I had just committed some unforgivable sin. "This isn't over," she spat, storming off with her friends. As the patrol car pulled away, I let out a long breath. Relief washed over me, but so did sadness. Why was it so hard for some people to respect others? Why did peace always come with a fight? I thought maybe, just maybe, Karen would back off after the cops warned her. But entitlement doesn't vanish that easily. Over the next month, she tried everything. She left nasty notes on my gate. "Sell the land. You don't belong here." She spread rumors in town that I was aggressive, unstable, even dangerous. At one point, I found tire tracks cutting across my grass, as if someone had deliberately driven through it to mock me. Each day, I grew more tired, not just physically, but emotionally. All I had wanted was a quiet life, a place to grow vegetables, listen to the birds, and finally feel free. Instead, I was living in constant anxiety. One evening, as I sat on the porch watching the sun dip below the horizon, an old neighbor, Mr. Johnson, walked up. He was in his 70s, his back bent, but his spirit strong. "You've had a rough start here," he said gently. I sighed. "You could say that," he nodded. "Don't let her break you, son. Karen's been like this for years. She tried pulling the same stunt with me once. But here's the thing, people like her thrive on reaction. The more you fight back, the more they push. Sometimes the best revenge is just standing tall and not letting them steal your peace." His words sank deep into me. I realized then I couldn't let her bitterness poison my dream. I couldn't let anger define my days. A week later, Karen passed by the edge of my fence again, glaring at me like she wanted to burn holes through me. But this time, instead of shouting or arguing, I simply raised my head high and kept tending to my garden. She muttered something under her breath and walked away. It wasn't about winning anymore. It was about living, and slowly things changed. Other neighbors began visiting me, bringing pies, sharing stories, and making me feel welcome. They had seen the drama, and many apologized for not speaking up sooner. "We're glad you stood your ground," one of them said. As for Karen, she still lurked around, still bitter. But over time, her power faded. People stopped listening to her lies, and I finally found what I had been looking for all along: peace, not because others respected it, but because I chose to protect it inside myself. Life will always bring people like Karen into our paths, people who think they can take what isn't theirs, who believe rules don't apply to them. But the true battle isn't always against them. Sometimes it's within ourselves to not let anger, bitterness, or fear rob us of our peace. This land was my dream, and though Karen tried to steal my joy, she ended up teaching me the most valuable lesson of all. No one can take your peace if you refuse to give it away. So, if you've ever faced someone like Karen, someone who tried to trample over your boundaries or your dignity, remember this story. Stand firm, but also protect your heart, because peace, once guarded, is the greatest treasure of all.